When Ahmed stepped out of the airport in Minneapolis, the cold air touched his face like a sudden warning. It was early winter, and snow covered the ground like a clean white blanket. He had never seen so much snow before. Coming from a warm country, everything felt new, strange, and exciting at the same time. He pulled his coat tighter around his body and took a deep breath. This city was now his new home. Ahmed had come to Minneapolis with many dreams and a little fear. He had learned English for years, but using it in real life was different. At the airport, when a taxi driver asked him where he wanted to go, Ahmed felt nervous. His heart beat fast, but he answered slowly and clearly. The driver smiled and nodded, and that small moment gave Ahmed confidence. He realized that making mistakes was not the end of the world. The taxi moved through wide roads and tall buildings. Outside the window, Ahmed saw frozen lakes, colorful houses, and people walking quickly in heavy coats. Minneapolis looked calm and busy at the same time. He remembered the stories he had heard about this city, about its cold winters and kind people. He hoped those stories were true. Ahmed was staying in a small apartment near downtown. When he entered the apartment, it felt empty but peaceful. There was a bed, a table, and a small kitchen. He placed his suitcase on the floor and sat on the bed. For a moment, he felt lonely. His family and friends were far away. The room was quiet, and the silence felt heavy. But then he reminded himself why he came here. He wanted a better future, better education, and better opportunities. The next morning, Ahmed woke up early. Sunlight came through the window, reflecting off the snow outside. He made a simple breakfast and practiced English by reading a newspaper he found near his building. Some words were difficult, but he did not give up. He wrote new words in a notebook and tried to use them in sentences. Learning English was now part of his daily life. Later that day, Ahmed decided to explore the city. He walked to a nearby bus stop and carefully asked a stranger which bus he should take. The man answered kindly and even explained the route twice to make sure Ahmed understood. This small act of kindness made Ahmed smile. He felt that people in Minneapolis were patient and helpful. On the bus, Ahmed listened to conversations around him. He did not understand everything, but he caught some words and phrases. He noticed how people spoke naturally, using simple expressions and friendly tones. He realized that listening was just as important as speaking. Every bus ride became a free English lesson. After a few days, Ahmed started looking for a job. He visited small stores, cafes, and offices, asking if they were hiring. Sometimes people said no, and sometimes they asked him to come back later. Each time he spoke, his confidence grew a little more. Even when he felt tired or embarrassed, he reminded himself that progress takes time. One afternoon, Ahmed entered a small coffee shop. The smell of coffee filled the air, and soft music played in the background. He spoke to the manager, a middle-aged woman with a warm smile. She listened carefully and asked him simple questions. Ahmed answered honestly. He spoke slowly, choosing his words with care. At the end of the conversation, she offered him a part-time job. Ahmed could not believe it. He thanked her again and again. That moment felt like a big victory. Working at the coffee shop helped Ahmed improve his English faster. Every day, he spoke with customers, took orders, and answered questions. Sometimes he made mistakes, but customers were usually understanding. His coworkers also helped him learn new words and correct his pronunciation gently. Ahmed felt proud of himself. He was not just learning English from books anymore. He was living it. In the evenings, Ahmed liked to walk near the Mississippi River. The river looked beautiful, especially when the city lights reflected on the water. As he walked, he thought about his journey. Minneapolis was no longer just a place on the map. It was becoming a part of his life. The city had given him challenges, but it had also given him hope. Ahmed knew his journey was just beginning. He still had much to learn, many goals to achieve, and many fears to overcome. But standing there, in the cold air of Minneapolis, he felt stronger than before. He understood that a new beginning does not mean forgetting the past. It means building a future, step by step, word by word, and dream by dream. That night, as Ahmed returned to his small apartment, he smiled to himself. Minneapolis had welcomed him, and he was ready to welcome the challenges ahead. When the alarm rang at 6 in the morning, Ahmed slowly opened his eyes and listened to the quiet sound of the city. Outside his apartment window in Minneapolis, the streets were still calm, covered with fresh snow from the night before. He stretched, sat up, and smiled softly. Life here was still new, but it was beginning to feel real. Ahmed followed the same routine every morning. He washed his face, made a cup of hot tea, and looked at his daily schedule written on a small paper stuck to the wall. Routine helped him feel stable. In a new country, with a new language and new responsibilities, simple habits gave him confidence. He believed that small steps every day would lead to big changes in the future. After breakfast, Ahmed put on his winter jacket, gloves, and hat before stepping outside. The cold air was sharp, but he had learned how to prepare for it. He walked to the bus stop carefully, watching his steps on the icy sidewalk. On the way, he greeted his neighbor, an old man who always walked his dog in the morning. At first, Ahmed had only smiled and nodded, but now he could say a few friendly words. These short conversations helped him practice English and feel more connected to the community. At the bus stop, Ahmed waited with other people, all busy with their own lives. Some were students, some were office workers, and some were parents taking their children to school. Ahmed listened to their conversations, noticing how naturally English flowed in everyday life. He learned new expressions just by paying attention. Sometimes he repeated sentences quietly to himself, practicing pronunciation. Ahmed worked part-time at a coffee shop and also attended evening English classes. Balancing work and study was not easy, but he was determined. At the coffee shop, he learned the language of customer service. He learned how to greet people politely, how to ask clear questions, and how to handle small problems calmly. Each interaction helped him feel more confident and professional. One day at work, a customer complained about a wrong order. Ahmed felt nervous, but he remembered what his manager had taught him. He listened carefully, apologized politely, and fixed the mistake. The customer smiled and thanked him. That moment taught Ahmed an important lesson. Confidence did not mean speaking perfect English. It meant staying calm, respectful, and willing to learn. In the afternoon, Ahmed sometimes met his friend Sam, whom he had met in his English class. Sam was also an immigrant and understood Ahmed's struggles. They often met at a library in Minneapolis, a quiet and warm place filled with books and people from all over the world. Together, they practiced English, helped each other with homework, and shared stories about their lives. These friendships made the city feel less lonely. Minneapolis offered many opportunities to learn and grow. Ahmed discovered community centers that offered free workshops and language practice sessions. He joined a conversation group where people from different countries shared their experiences. Listening to others helped Ahmed realize that everyone had challenges, no matter where they came from. This understanding gave him strength. In the evenings, after work and classes, Ahmed liked to explore the city. Sometimes he walked through busy streets filled with lights and sounds. Other times, he enjoyed the quiet parks covered in snow. He admired how the city balanced nature and urban life. Minneapolis taught him that life did not have to be rushed. There was time to grow, to reflect, and to improve. Ahmed also learned about responsibility. Paying bills, managing time, and planning for the future were now part of his daily life. These tasks were sometimes stressful, especially in a foreign language. But every challenge he overcame made him stronger. He learned to ask for help when needed and to trust himself when making decisions. On weekends, Ahmed called his family. Hearing their voices gave him comfort and motivation. He told them about his job, his classes, and his progress in English. They were proud of him, and their support pushed him forward. Even though he missed home, he knew he was building something important in Minneapolis. One snowy evening, Ahmed stood on a bridge overlooking the Mississippi River. The city lights reflected beautifully on the water. He thought about how much he had changed since his arrival. He was no longer afraid to speak English. He was no longer unsure of his place. Minneapolis had become a city of growth, learning, and hope for him. Ahmed understood that success was not only about reaching big goals. It was about daily effort, patience, and belief in oneself. Life, work, and dreams were all connected. As he walked back home through the cold night, Ahmed felt warm inside. His journey in Minneapolis was shaping him into a stronger and more confident person, ready to face whatever the future might bring.